In studio right now is the ladies' coach of the Utica College hockey team, Dave Clausen. Dave, I know you were able to hear a little of my rant, and I'm sorry to go off psycho on everybody this morning, but what are your thoughts on what I'm talking about here?
Well, youth sports, and I've got an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and I don't think there's a day goes by that I don't feel bad for their hockey coaches, their baseball coaches.
It's tough.
I agree with you. I think, parents are nuts these days. Everything is the coach's fault. And these are guys that are,
Yeah.
they go to work every day, just like us, and then they come home, and while we pull out our folding chairs, they're out there, trying to get our 11-year-olds to skate faster or whatnot. And
for nothing, by the way, they're not getting paid.
Then all of a sudden, our son's not on the line that we want him on, or our daughter's not getting a start or whatever. And we're wishing ill will on volunteers. So, they're not professional coaches, and I think that's one of those things where as parents you have to have that expectation. You're signing your kid up for youth sports. If you get on a travel team, it costs you $3,000, and the coach
different
making a living,
deal. It's going to be your
different world.
It's a different world. Yep.
Little league, those guys are volunteers.
Yeah.
And they may not always agree with them as a coach.
Yeah.
But then you know what? Fill out the paperwork. Volunteer yourself.
That's right. Yeah, volunteer yourself, or you know what, pick up your ball and go home and find another team to play with. I hate to say it, but sitting there and going after the coach is probably not the answer.
And what Bill talked about as well is the lack of discipline from the home life or whatever from these parents. Does that bleed over into these coaches then having to deal with maybe a problem child? And you talk about feeling bad for the coaches, but I mean that becomes the case.
Yeah, there's lots of talk about the generation now and what is it, kids born after 94, which is now finally my whole team. I think Kira's the oldest player on the team, but I think it does start, and I'm a big believer. Like Lombardi had it right years ago that winning isn't the only thing. It is everything. But his point was that whether you won or lost wasn't everything. It was you're putting in the effort as an athlete.
Right.
You're doing everything in your power to win, and if you're doing that, then it's a successful experience for the kids. And you talk about your kid, picking dandelions in the outfield, and certainly as a coach, I could see that being frustrating. But people talk about having fun and whatnot, and where I think we get lost a little bit in youth sports is mom and dad are like, Johnny, you're playing baseball this year, and Johnny's like, what's baseball?
And no interest,
which isn't even that bad, or hey, you got to go to hockey practice because Dad played hockey, and let's go, and you're going, and you see kids crying, putting their skates on at youth hockey, with mites and whatnot, and I'm just like, hey, take him home. He wants to do something else.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and there isn't, and we went through it, and my oldest, I think, he quit hockey for 2 months when he was, I think, 6 years old. And now he's 11 and he loves it.
Yeah.
But wasn't the right time. Then we were fortunate. There was a team that would take him middle of the year when he decided he wanted to play. So they're kids. They still are kids. But certainly, it's part of, you're teaching them to be on a team. You're teaching them life skills. You're teaching them responsibility. And they're 11 years old. So the responsibility might be different than it is for our 20-year-olds in college. Yeah. But there's certain things. You're on a team. It's not about you. It's and that's, I think, where parents
life
get
lessons
lost.
There. You're right. It's about
it's about Johnny. Yeah. Johnny's got to be batting number 4, or this is a waste of time.
That's because Johnny's going to be in the majors, and I'm going to be able to sit in a Major League Stadium and watch my son become Derek Jeter. And the chances of that happening, not all that good.
It's interesting that you said that about your son, at 6 years old.
I'm sorry to pick on Johnny, by the way. It's not just Johnny.
Well, Johnny's a brat.
That's right.
His dad is on line 2, by the way.
That's Johnny Sr. Oh, boy.
But at 6 years old, he didn't really feel it. And if you had pushed him, let's say you had pushed him, he wouldn't have had that love at 11 that he has for the sport now. It may have deterred him from something that he would have eventually enjoyed.
Well, listen, I'm for one not offering parenting advice because, but that being said, you watch it with sports, and certainly my world, I'm at an athletic field or venue at all times, and certainly with kids, the last thing in the world you want to do is to make your kid do something that they don't
Sure.
want to do.
Yeah.
And now with when we were all kids, it was you get home from school, you're waiting for dad to yell at the back door, dinner at 6 o'clock, and you were gone for 3 hours. In the summertime, you were gone, and if you didn't come home for lunch, well, you just didn't eat lunch.
Right.
And
you were
now
playing something.
And now you're in this world where everybody's under watch 24/7, and
that is the big change. Everything's organized. It's no longer going out and playing outside or getting a game going, whether it's hockey or it's baseball or football. Now everything's organized.
And I've got a third grader, a fourth grader, and a fifth grader home. So I'm, they've got some social skills and whatnot because they have to deal with each other. But God forbid you have an only child or you have two kids and they're 4 years apart, and
changes everything.
All of a sudden,
I'm not trying to go after the parents, but at the end of the
time
day,
to take them to play dates and
that's
organize
about that
sports
interaction.
activities, they don't do it. Where we used to just go play wiffle ball, we used to just go play kickball, we used to go play tackle football in our sweatpants, and come home bloody and you know.
And that was okay.
You remember grass stains? Like kids don't get grass stains anymore.
I don't see those in the advertisements anymore.
Really. That's funny. There used to be every Tide commercial was about getting the grass stain out. Good point. Never thought about that. End of the day, though, don't blame your T-ball coach for trying to include the kids who are horrible and the kids who are good. It's just trying to be decent, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And don't underestimate the value. If your kids do end up with, and most kids will somewhere along the line end up with a great youth sports coach in some sport, and probably that'll be the sport that your kid falls in love with because that coach finds a way to engage all the kids and make it fun and keep them involved and make them more successful. And we've been fortunate with some of our kids to get that in different sports, and it's a great thing. And then the best youth coaches, they do deal with parents, but they deal with parents at the start of the season. They let the parents know what their expectations of the parents are. They let their parents know this is what you do. Don't when Johnny gets in the car on the way home, don't yell at him because he didn't work hard enough or he went 0 for 3 at the plate. If you don't think, there's things you as a parent know. If your kid tried his hardest or not. Let him know he tried his hardest or he didn't. Pat him on the back or yell at him for that. But let me work on his fundamentals. Let me work on his decision making and our team
Sometimes
strategy.
it's tough
And
for the
the
kid.
lineup.
Sometimes and leave the lineup to me. Sometimes it's tough for the kid when he's out in the field, or I'm sure this happens in all sports, and he doesn't know. The coach is yelling to tell me something, but so's my dad and mom. And you watch the kid looking up and looking. That nothing bothers a coach more than that one. We'll talk more, Dave. Dave Clausen is the women's ladies coach over at UC. Got a little something. We're gonna hurt Andrew. I'm so excited.